Hello and welcome. Today we are going to be talking about Ashes Creation and their caravan preview that they've uploaded about 2 weeks ago. It was on October 31st when this video came up. If you have not already seen this, I'll put the link down in the description. Go watch that first and then come back to this and let's talk about it a little bit. The first thing I wanted to talk about specifically is the event of actually summoning your caravan, right? So right as you kick it off and you're like, hey, I want to go, I want to send off my caravan. I want to make sure that I have XYZ upgrades, right? So increase the acceleration, the speed, the tankiness of this cart. And then finally, getting to find a spot to go summon it, right? So the summon radius for the caravan, it doesn't actually seem like it is all that large, and it gives you not a huge amount of time to actually go and kick off this event, right? So to get your party ready for it. Steven mentioned in this video that depending on how much actual supplies that you are transporting, plus the distance at which you are planning to transport it. So if you're trying to go from a node that is super far away versus a node that is very close, those times of actually summoning the caravan, they're going to vary dependent on that metric specifically. If you are planning on doing a cross-country trip, that's going to take a lot longer to actually summon the caravan, but you will need a pretty reliable group of players to help you kind of get from point A to point B and make sure that your caravan doesn't die, because by the time you get to that other end, if you die just before your node destination and you lose all your supplies, you're going to be pretty upset, right? Now, there's a couple of things that are there to assist you in making sure that you can make it safely from point A to point B. First off, they show off the repulsor here. So you can see that it launches enemies and friendlies. It flings them across the map and does a little bit of damage, but it's really meant for just a displacement and, hey, get the heck off of me. I don't know what the cooldown of it is, and I don't know what the final numbers are. I don't think anybody does yet. Gives us a good look at what is actually going to be happening. And then from what I understand, I think this is an ability that you have to equip to your caravan. I don't think that this is 100% every single caravan gets this, right? Same with the healing ability, which they show off here when they offer to heal their friends. And you can see that it did heal the caravan a little bit, although I don't think that this caravan is taking any damage currently. I think they're just trying to show off the system. I don't think that it's fully in place, or they just wanted to make sure and guarantee that they got from point A to point B to show the entire loop of the system. And this is things that this is a similar output of things that they do on most of the showcases of things. They're usually in some form of GM mode. They don't take that much damage. I know that when they were showing off the world boss, Steven on his tank did end up making it so that he was not receiving any damage, just so that he could kind of show off everything and what the general feeling of the event was like. And that might be the case here, although they did not specify 100% if that was the case. But it does heal for about 1,300 damage at the current number rating. This is definitely not a number that we're going to be seeing in the end build, or maybe it is, but nothing is final is basically the point here. But within this giant radius, this is a pretty substantial radius around this caravan, and it looks like that it ticks every few seconds. So that was one tick. That was another tick. That's pretty cool. And it did not heal this player near as much as it healed the caravan. And this, I can't tell which player this is specifically, but it could be based on the amount of healing that they require. It could be percentage based. There's a whole lot that could be. Oh, it looks like it chooses one player rather than everybody. So that's pretty interesting. Maybe it's the people that need the most healing and are in the circle at the time. It's super hard to say. And with a 60-second cooldown, I would say that's a pretty strong ability, considering it looks like this ability lasts for about 20 seconds, roughly, 25 seconds. I think that's a pretty strong cooldown. So 25 seconds. So that's 25 ticks on the caravan, 100%, because it looks like it was healing the caravan and one other player that stands inside this radius at the current version of this build. So, that's a full heal for the caravan at these current number ratings, right? So, it would only need, well, that's even, let's see, 25 ticks. Yeah, that's 2,500 damage. So that means that it's a full heal and then some for the caravan. So if it is currently actively taking damage, you pop this heal. It can pretty much, it'll heal through a bit of burst for a roughly 20 seconds. That's pretty good. That's very strong. And it does look like the caravan is actually taking a tiny bit of damage, so it must be pretty resilient. It must be pretty tanky, and not taking that much damage. The players are also doing a pretty good job at keeping the mobs off of the caravan, and this repulsor blast is an instant cooldown. I don't imagine this repulsor blast is going to have 0 cooldown in the future. I think that this is just how it's currently functioning in this current build of their Alpha 2 or whatever they are playing on right this second. So there's a few pretty interesting things to comment on. So first off is the actual size of the inventory of the caravan. So if we show the actual size of the caravan, it's hard to say if you're able to scroll down. There does appear to be a scroll wheel here. That he doesn't really scroll through it all that much. Let's see. So it looks like there's 3 pages of inventory space on his current caravan. I don't know if they're separated out based on specific things. This could be specifically items coming from his inventory. The next tab, or whatever it would be referred to as, could be specifically these commodities that they're speaking of. That part I wasn't quite 100% sure on, so if you know better than me, leave a comment down below to help me understand what's going on or what I'm looking at this section. I think that this is really good so far. I really like what kind of inventory system they're going with. It doesn't sound like they're going with a weight system, which I approve of greatly, but they are doing kind of the Tetris style, and I think that's great. Honestly, I really like that idea. So no weight and Tetris, so it means that specific items will take up more space, and that will kind of simulate a weight system, just because a bigger item will take up more space in your inventory, and I think that's totally fair. But not having to deal with encumbrance is also fantastic. And the fact that you are not able to carry crates across the map, and it requires that you do a caravan run, I think that's also a very good thing. I don't want this game to end up anywhere close to how Black Desert Online plays with that type of bartering system. I know that there's plenty of people that love that idea. Coming from the Korean MMO world, I'd like to avoid that at all costs, because that just gives them another thing to potentially put a price tag on. As far as making things more convenient in that aspect, and I would like to avoid those situations as best I can, and it sounds like that's what they're kind of aiming for, avoiding as well. So super good stuff. Let's see. The other thing that I wanted to talk about is specifically the distance at which you are able to place your caravan flag to start summoning. The actual distance, as you can see, this is a pretty good screenshot here. I don't know how it's going to look on video for you guys, but the town is right here, and this is roughly where they just came from when they summoned the caravan, or started this caravan event, right? And they kicked it off. The distance for this circle, based on roughly this, this is kind of like this circle here, right? So this is like the part of the circle. It seems like it is not quite centered on this section, based on the actual positioning of this bubble, but we haven't walked around this. We don't exactly know the exact the diameter of this. If there is an exact diameter written down somewhere on their wiki, I hadn't found it yet. So if there is something, definitely, again, leave that as a comment down below. This whole caravan summoning, starting the event, kicking off the event, I think this is very cool. I do think that players are going to end up kind of timing it based on the more or less populated times of their server. So you're going to be doing it late in the evening, early in the morning, somewhere in that low population count time frame is my guess. Especially if you need to go from like a very far away point from point A to point B. And it's going to be, I think it's going to be way worse at the start of the game, where everybody's going to be trying to get as much supplies as they possibly can. But it depends on what the downsides of attacking a caravan are, right? So if it ends up being the corruption system, I think that might be just enough to sway people away from attacking caravans willy-nilly. And I think that it's going to be less of a big deal. And I think this is going to be more of you're going to attack caravans that might look extra fancy. They might be holding on to high grade supplies, right? So, and it might be an enemy guild. and you don't want them to be able to have an advantage at the next node war, right? And you want to be able to take those supplies for yourself and help equip your guild or your node in general, right? So those are all things to keep in mind. I think depending on what the negative effects for attacking a caravan are, so if it is a corruption system, I think that'll be enough to sway most players away from just attacking every caravan they see. But I do think it's going to be enough of a problem that you'll have to deal with as a caravan driver, that you'll probably always want a couple of people on deck ready to help defend your caravan. I think that's really cool. I like what that kind of environment is bringing for us. I like it a lot, honestly. The other thing is the random events and the way that the caravan adjusts based on the terrain that you're on. They're moving much slower while they're riding on the grass here. So while they're riding on this grass, you can tell that they're going fairly slow. And then as they make it onto the road, he gets a buff for it. You can see this right here. And they start ending up getting faster, a little bit faster acceleration and a faster top speed. And that's just for being on the road, and that's dependent on the wheels that you have equipped. Apparently there are going to be off-road wheels, so if you do think that you're going to be having to take a sketchy part of town, going through the woods or something to get your next node, you might benefit from doing the off-road tires, right? So, or wheels. There's probably no rubber in this world. I think that that's a super cool system. I think being able to build up your caravan and actually make it look stronger based on the type of things that you have equipped to it, right? So Stevens, as you can see, it's a very robust caravan. It's got a lot of spikes and protection all over it. You can see that it probably has a lot of items inside of it. And then the caravan that they're partnered with just looks like a standard caravan. Not a whole lot going on to it. It has very normal looking wheels, very little protection. So you can see that this caravan on the left is probably not one that you're going to be attacking. You're probably going to be preferring the one that looks like it has higher defense because it probably has higher rated or more goods on board, right? And that could be the mind game, right? So there could be these crappy looking caravans that have high level material on them, and you may never know because you would never think to attack the lower level caravan that you just see riding down the street. So those are things that you need to keep in mind when you are dealing with this caravan system. There is a bit of a mind game that can be played with it, although depending on the weight, I think you have to upgrade specific pieces, and yeah, I'm sure there's going to be a whole meta to it to make sure that it is min-maxed to all hell, because that's how MMOs end up getting played nowadays. The other cool thing that I noticed is that the smaller caravan has only one horse and Stevens has two. And from what they mentioned, it sounds like you might be able to have more than just two. I think that's all really cool. It would help with the actual acceleration and the top speed, or probably just the acceleration of the caravan, depending on how much weight you have available, like on the caravan. I think that's a really cool system. The fact that bridges count as off-roading is interesting. I'm sure that that's going to be another thing. Maybe another modification is going to help. It's going to increase the amount of bridges. These also look like they might have been placed bridges. These bridges might not be here at the start of the node. I can't say for sure. I think they mention it briefly in here. I couldn't find the exact spot for it where they're talking about it. But if you guys know, that's another thing that I'm very curious about. Are these bridges due to the fact that the node has been leveling up and it has progressed a little bit? Are these nodes going to be there at the very start of the game? Or are these bridges going to be there at the very start of the node's life cycle? Do we have to place them? Right, things of that nature. I think that's pretty cool. There is a set of guards, it looks like, over here. My guess is that these are bridges that need to be erected or chosen to be erected, or maybe it's just naturally from leveling up the node. But I can't say for sure. Either way, I think that's also very cool. They mentioned also that the caravan can go across, if you have a specific upgrade for it, you can convert it into a boat mode. That's super interesting. You're also going to be able to do caravan runs on ships. This system alone, for as overall small as it is, the depth of it and the breadth and scope of it is so huge. The fact that there can be random events like a fallen tree, I think that's crazy. I do think that's pretty interesting, though, the way that they chose to do this. When you are close to an area, a random fallen tree can just spawn. When you kick, I think this might be a, when you select your destination, I think there's just a predetermined amount of random events that could happen. It could be while you're getting close to that area, these predetermined effects or these slightly random events might kick off as you get nearer and nearer to them. But I do think that it's very cool that anything you're looking at can be like all of these trees can all be chopped down, which is, I think, a pretty big praise about New World. So I'm glad that they're also going down that route. I haven't gotten to play New World myself. If you guys recommend that, let me know. I think that the new expansion looks pretty awesome, especially the fact that you're able to get pretty interesting looking mounts. And the fact that there is mounts in New World is also pretty cool, but that's not the game we're talking about today. So overall, the other crazy part about this entire caravan event that they went through, they effectively kicked this off at about 13 minutes, I believe it was, when they actually said, okay, go. Let's see. Yep, right here. So we're confirming launch, and we're at roughly 13 minutes and 35-ish seconds. They finally make it to their arrival point at the 42:22 mark. So, I mean, this is a 30-minute adventure, and they mentioned in this video specifically that this is a fairly close node. So when you are doing a caravan run, this is going to be a pretty substantial amount of time that you are kind of dedicating your time to, helping just defend this caravan that may or may not get attacked, or just one that an event helps and it starts to summon things where it starts to try to attack this caravan, and you're going to need to be there for your guild member or your node member to try to help make sure that they can make it to their destination and move all these supplies so that they can either sell them or use them at their freehold. I think it's just really cool. I really like the type of environment and community that this hopefully should bring. I think that it's going to really bring together a lot of players. Hopefully it doesn't feel like it's just a little bit tedious, right? So we'll see how it all progresses as we get into the game a little bit closer to whatever we consider end game. I'm also curious to see just how long it takes for us to level. When this type of caravan system can be accessed, just kind of everything about it. So I'm really, really excited to see this in play. I am trying to not just be huffing hopium and copium. I don't want to be dual huffing on both of those. I'd really like to just hope that this game is good and let it play out. We don't really know when we're going to see this. We do know that Alpha 2 is for sure coming out next year. I think Alpha 2 is the official kickoff of like, hey, this game is coming fairly soon. It's probably not coming anytime in 2024. It is more likely that it's going to be coming anytime after that. My guess is probably as late as 2026 is when we'll start all being able to actually play this game. It would surprise me if we are able to actively play this game, not in early access in 2025, but the amount of progress that they have been making in the past few months due to just the increase in hires and now officially being on the latest version of Unreal Engine. I think that we are officially allowed to start getting a little bit excited. And Steven, if you ever end up watching this, which I'm very doubtful of, just blink twice if we get Ashes of Creation in 2024 or 2025. That'd be great. I won't ever see your blinking, but I know that you're going to blink twice at least at some point. So we're going to keep that in mind. Thank you guys for watching. Again, if you have any questions or concerns or whatever, let me know down in the comments and I will be sure to get back to you and comment and respond to the best of my ability. And if I don't know the answer, hopefully somebody else does, if that information is even available. So thanks again. Take care.